Hey guys, what's good? What's good? Okay, so I just wanted to come on here right quick and just chat about a few things. So for my, well, first of all, there's a few topics, but so readings, for example, I know I started off doing the bonus readings with the general messages and things of that nature for people not necessarily interested in love. I'm still doing that. I didn't bail on that. I am someone that runs off energy. So if I am not in an energy that is good, or if I'm not in the right energy, I have to work with that. Like I can't, like I'm not a robot, for example, like I have to work with my energy. And sometimes I'm not in an energy, I would have to exhaust myself to go into the depths, for example, of more off the rail reading, okay? And I authentically love doing those, but it's not something I can just do on demand, for example. Okay, so I still plan on doing the general messages, but I have to work with my energy a little bit on that. So that's why I just did the shorter readings this time. Like I said, I didn't bail on those. I'm still doing the bonus messages. I'm just more so working with my energy. Hey guys, hey Sarah, Alejandro, Missy, Miss Taylor. So I'm still doing the bonus messages. But yeah, my energy lately, it's just been like pulled in so many different directions, and I'm not in a bad energy, but you know, first of all, I'm gonna be homeschooling my kiddos, so that's been taking up a lot of my energy. Because last year we ended the year homeschooling, and this year we're working with a different curriculum. So I've kind of been, I don't know if anyone that homeschools, but I kind of figured out what curriculum works best for my kids, so that's what we're doing. And so we're getting the classroom, like we're turning our old office into their classroom, so I'm really excited for that. But also like the world, for example, I just want to say, like, I didn't know if I wanted to talk about this because, like, I don't really know what to talk about in regards to this situation in the world. But, for example, the world, for example, has been taking up a lot of my energy because there's a lot of things going on that are just not right. Not right at all. And it's one of those things that you can't really talk about. For one, well, there's specific things you literally can't talk about on YouTube because of censorship. But also, there's so many things that you don't know if you want to put your energy down that rabbit hole, because the reality is the world constantly throws us rabbit holes, and the more we focus on the rabbit holes, the less likely we're going to see the main issue, right? Because the world, for example, is very smart, okay? The people that run the world, they're very, very smart people. They know how to confuse the smartest of individuals, for example, right? So there's some things coming up, like I said, that's taking up a lot of my energy, and I'm constantly in a fight with myself. Do I want to talk about it? Do I not want to talk about it? I'm going to wait. So I'm going to wait. But I just want everyone to know that it's super important right now in the world to be able to think for yourself and to not be so naive. That's really the biggest battle right now that's happening in the world, is it's separating the people that think for themselves and the people that literally just do whatever they're told. So that's like super, super crucial. And I don't know if anybody knows the bills that are being passed in Australia, for example, but it's super crucial to not be naive right now, because it's like, how far are you going to let people push you? How far are you going to let the government push you? Things of that nature. So to be able to think for yourself, not be so gullible, be able to think for yourself. Right? Because you have that right as a spirit, as a human in this reality, to be able to think for yourself and say no, right? That is really important, guys. How long will this be going on for in the world? I think she meant like in the world. Because it's really frustrating, like, because like I don't know where to invest my energy in regards to this whole circumstance, because like I said, right now it's the reality is it's a war between facts, science, and faith and spirit, and the ability to think for yourself. And if you don't have the ability to think for yourself, you are going to essentially be handing over your spirit. You're going to be it's important to protect your kids, for example, right now, especially. Like, I don't even know what to really see. I can't really talk about anything without talking about anything. But the reality is, my energy has been like super oppressed lately because of the shit, that real shit, guys, real shit that's going on. And it's not okay. Like, it's not okay. Like, there's real shit going on. Like, there's a bill just that was passed in Australia that gives government the right to take any child under the age of 18 just because, to put them into quarantine. And when people give the power to the government to say this is what you can and cannot do, yeah, you can sacrifice and not go to certain stores or whatever it may be, but you are essentially leading the path for what's next. People act, oh, because I'm going to accept this, then it's just going to pass. You know, they think if they just go along with the flow, oh, it'll pass, you know. But that doesn't seem to be what's happening, you know. And I don't want to, I wanted to not necessarily ignore it, but, you know, it's one of those things that you don't want to really talk about too much because people don't hear you when you talk too much. And I want you guys to hear me, that it's super important that you think for yourself. Don't be so naive, because in Australia, for example, there's a bill being passed where they can legally remove your child. The child could be in a car by himself. They could be on the street. They can legally take that child, put it into quarantine, put it wherever they want to. And you don't think that's going to happen anywhere else or where you're at? Like, it's super important right now to think for yourself and not be a brainwashed fool. Okay, it's not even just about vaccines. I mean, that's a huge thing as well, right? But I'm not going to try to make you guys succumb to my expectations of vaccines. It's the reality of how much free will you're going to give away. Because it's not about, oh, you know, it's a catastrophic event, the world's going to end. It's not about that. The fact is, your spirit has the right to free will. And when authorities or anyone tries to remove your free will as a spirit separated from the world, if you can separate yourself from the world and you're still being controlled, that's an issue, right? No way, I've not been paying attention to what's going on, been busy working. COVID is it's like, I don't want to talk about, like, the point is it's an issue. It's a huge issue. And there's a lot of people that think, oh, this is passing. And the most scary thing about this whole situation is people are thinking it's getting better. People are thinking, oh, things are settling down, life's getting a little bit back to normal. That is, you know, seems to be the energy in the collective when it's just getting started. So, like, my biggest, if I could get any point across to anybody, it's be able to think for yourself. Be able to say, okay, these are my kids, and my kids don't have to, if you want to protect your kids, you need to be able to think for yourself. Not just kids, just you as a spirit, for example. You have the right to your free will. You have the right to homeschool your kids. You have the right to say no to vaccines, for example. You have the right. When people start taking that right away and start gaslighting you or trying to impact your spirit in itself, that's evil. They can't do that, you know? So things are reopening, yes, but things are never going to go back to the way they were. And what's happening too, I mean, the past few months, like, the more people do start focusing on the main issue, for example, is more things are just being thrown out. It's like they're constantly trying to keep you distracted. They're constantly trying to get you focused on anything but the real issue, right? And it pisses me off. My biggest piss off is when people try to make someone feel guilty or shameful, for example, for wanting to think for themselves or be a free spirit. I don't care if you believe in vaccines. I don't care if you believe in whatever's going on in the world. I don't care if you're willing to hand your child off because they may be threatened of whatever disease. I don't care if that's what you want to do. Really, I really don't. But you cannot tell anybody in this world that they should. You know, it's really an element of we can't say because some people are scared that everybody needs to be scared, you know? Anyway, how do I say? Lots of smoke and mirrors. Yeah, well, that's really, I mean, I'm homeschooling my kids, for example. I don't care about the virus. I have no concern or care about the virus. That is the least of my concerns. I'm homeschooling my kids because it blows my mind that I can't go in my dentist office I cannot go in my dentist's office without being called in. No, not more than one person can go in my dentist's office. It's a hassle to get in the bank. You have to line up 6 feet apart just to get in the bank. But they're gonna fill up schools in 2 weeks with kids? Are you freaking kidding me? It's not about the virus. It's the fact that why do they want them in the schools? Why are they willing to sacrifice the financial income of big businesses even, but they want kids in schools? It's about smoke and mirrors. They just want to blow smoke in your kids' faces. They just want to oppress them. And I've never really agreed with public school, to be quite honest with you, because that's what it is. It's a lot of distraction. It's a lot of getting them to focus on so many things that other than their own power and value. Like, why don't they teach kids useful things? I mean, about 7% of, a graduating class is actually going to use the information they may use in school, successfully be employed from a university program, for example, from school program. It's like anyways, this topic makes me really like pissy. Sorry if I'm like all over the place, but it just makes me pissy. That's why I don't want to talk about it. But it is super important. And sometimes I feel guilty because I'm like, do you know what? I have 105,000 subscribers and I'm not saying a word, but now I feel there's a time to say something, So I just feel like I don't want to scare anybody because there's nothing to be scared of. That's the funny thing, right? There's nothing to be scared of, right? There's nothing to be scared of. All you need to do is make sure you're thinking for yourself. Be able to separate yourself from everything that's going on in the world and still understand your own power, Even Christians, like I have nothing against Christians or religions or anything like that. Say if you are Christian, do you think God would say, you guys need to get away from each other? Why does God always get put on the back burner as soon as anything crazy in the government happens? Why do Christians all of a sudden feel like this needs to be put on the back burner? Where's the faith? I mean, God went into the bars. He helped the people with leprosy, for example. Like, God would never do that. So I don't care if you're Christian or whatever you want to call it. We need to have faith within our own spirit. That's the power. That is the secret to any catastrophic event in reality. So, and nobody can essentially take your free will or your energy, because even after this life, we are infinite, right? But if they try to oppress you in this reality and prevent your path from being completed, then you will be stuck. Now, that's a whole other video, but haven't you noticed that there are no biohazard bins for the damn mask? But think about it. Like, where's people's common sense? Like I said, more than one person at a time is not allowed in my dentist. You can't get in the bank. Well, you can, but it's a hassle. Grown adults, it's a hassle to get in their damn bank. But yet they're filling schools in a couple weeks. Why do they need the kids in school? It's almost like, do you know what I feel like it is? They want to be able to put you in the position where you use or put your kid at risk. So you already have it in the back of your mind that your kid's at risk. It's a big mind fuck. So, I don't know. I highly recommend homeschooling, and I'm actually going to be starting, I know everybody does not have the ability to homeschool, and I'm completely mindful of that. But what I'm going to do is on my other channel, I want to really direct it to homeschool, because a lot of people don't homeschool simply because they are overwhelmed and they're confused. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get set up. They don't know anything about the curriculums, whatever it may be. I'm going to focus on that on my other channel because I think it's super important, because a lot of people make poor choices simply because they're overwhelmed. So maybe you can't homeschool your kids, and that's fine. I totally get that. Like, I totally get that. And that's why I'm more than grateful for you guys, or I would never be able to homeschool probably myself. But I want to like help anybody that is confused with homeschooling to get them. Because right now, like I said, we are free, we are clear, we have overcome the world with our spirit. Biblically, even if you're Christian, that's biblically written. The Bible is so useful if you can put it into terms of metaphors, not necessarily literal, because there's nothing literal when it comes to your energy and how we perceive things on an energetic level. The world is only relevant to the world. It's not relevant to everything outside the world, right? I feel there's so much going on behind the scenes. That would be so helpful. I homeschooled my recently graduated daughter, and it was the best thing I ever did. Yeah, it's one of those things that's overwhelming for me, because honestly, like, I'm not the most organized person. I'm I'm not the best of teachers, but it's one of those things I consciously know I have to do, regardless of if I want to. I know I have to, because I don't feel, like I said, it's weird that they're putting you in the position where you're willing to. This is reverse psychology, right? They already have you thinking something could happen, you know, because every parent's sending their kid. They already have it in the back of their mind, you know, for people that believe in the virus, for example. How did you make the decision to dedicate yourself to your spiritual work full time? I don't know. I didn't really decide. I just am spiritual. Like, it wasn't really a choice, you know? It wasn't really a choice. The Bible is literal, figurative, and spiritual. Yes, like I said, I was brought up in church. I've read the Bible multiple times. We'd have to do our daily readings, and we'd cross it off each year, and we'd have to read the Bible multiple times, memorize verses, whatever it may be. I was brought up in church. I totally respect church. I get it. I understand the concept, but I find sometimes it can be a matter of traditions over spirit in itself, and that's not all Christians, of course. I know lots of Christians that are really nice people, and they're not hypocritical at all. The point is sometimes people can look at it too literal, as I have no power, or they put it outside of themselves, so they're constantly putting themselves in the victim-like mindset of, I need something external to me, when really you're already part of the external. You are a part of the external. Okay, whether you want to call it God, source, I mean, because language in itself is a third-dimensional property. It is third-dimensional, language, words. It's not your energy. Language is the ego. Language is something that was created and given a label, a meaning, and that meaning can be distorted and picked apart and used to mislead people down the wrong road, simply because they're not listening to their energy. And energy is the spirit. Energy is first things first, right? And sometimes in a lot of religions, it's the literal fact of anything. Even astrology, some astrologers, or not on YouTube, guys, I'm not hating on anyone, but there's astrology sometimes that can become so literal that they make it this educational thing that you need 4 years of education for, when no, it's like you already have the power, you already have the energy, and if you can just listen to energy, that's all you need, right? So I was able to teach my daughter at home and filter out all the nonsense. Exactly, and that's the beautiful thing, and that's your right. You have the right to filter out the nonsense. You don't have to be in hell with everybody else that thinks, you know, they're gonna die. Okay. Believe that religion and government is the same thing. Yeah, but I'm gonna get out of here. But yeah, that's my main point. But yeah, the other readings, the in-depth readings are still gonna happen as soon as I can get my energy back on track. But yeah, homeschool has taken up a lot of my energy, and just life in itself, and the world. You have no idea how many times in a day I see things or I hear things and I have to bite my tongue. Because like I said, there's a million rabbit holes, and they're gonna throw you a million rabbit holes. So the most important thing is to think for yourself, right? So we walk as individual. Okay, I love you guys. Do I need to focus on anything else? Sorry, I'm all shaky right now. It just makes me... Anyway, what else do I need to focus on? That's it. I feel like that's it. You don't have to apologize for preserving your energy. That's why you can share it with us. Yeah. I don't want to make this video too long because then nobody will watch it though. So that's why I'm like, what else do I need to talk about right quick? Because it's super important. You guys need to think for yourself. Think for yourself. If I can think for yourself, please don't believe everything you see. Even conspiracies, for example. Even all the conspiracy bullshit that's out there. You don't need to believe that. That's not the point. That's not the point. Focusing on everything that's out of your control is not going to do anything for anybody, right? But focusing on what you can control, which is the ability to think for yourself, the ability to see something and say, that is obviously not right. I'm going to stand up for this. Because you have no many times, you have no idea how many times I have even shared things, very factual things, very factual. One was even an interview on the news, on the government, that have been deleted from news sites. They delete it, they censor everything. even YouTubers know we can't talk about it. It's literally a rule. We are threatened to strike on our account if we talk about it. Like, everything's censored. And then people wonder, well, where's the facts? They're not going to show you the facts. And that's why it's so frustrating. YouTubers, we have a list of things we can and cannot talk about, you know? So I don't know if you guys remember a few months back when everyone's lives were being held for 12 hours or whatever it was, because they had to implement the censorship. They put on new censorship. They are changing the algorithms, for example. They are taking healers, spiritual workers, anyone that can help you understand your own power. They are pushing these people out of the algorithms. They're changing them, you know? So it's not even conspiracy. It's literally happening right now, you know? And it's nothing to be scared of. That's why I say, think for yourself. And I'm a firm believer of not paying attention to the news, not paying attention to the world, for example. But I also understand responsibility behind knowledge. And I also understand that you can't just watch people kind of walk down a well, you know? It's just... So I don't like talking about this stuff. I honestly feel like a lot of people think it's annoying. Nobody wants to hear it, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Okay, I'm not telling you facts of the world. I'm telling you facts of your energy, which is the truth. And to give away your energy or free will to anybody is not the truth. That is evil. Okay, so I love you guys.